Namaste, and you are very welcome to our workshop on meditation on using essential oils for manifestation and particularly for manifestation, also for achieving higher states of consciousness. My name is Sinead Duffy. I am the founder of Yogandha. I am an aromatherapy alchemist and a consciousness coach, and I'm delighted to be your guide. In my mind, manifesting and also meditation, the mind is the portal, and essential oils are the key. They're like a backstage pass, and I'm very, very happy to be your guide in this process. So, now just a few housekeeping things. So I can see, I think you can all see me. There are presumably comments, so please comment away, maybe give us a thumbs up or something so that I can see, and do please shoot with any questions that you have. You can see I have my oils behind me. Hey Alan. And I have my whiteboard, which I'm not sure if you can read. I'll put it a little bit closer. So, essential oils for manifesting, or as I call it, Ganda Shakti. So first of all, I'm very, very grateful that you're here, and I am very excited for you on this journey of discovering, because there's a lot of people talking about essential oils, but there are not that many people talking about essential oils for achieving higher states of consciousness. There's a lot of talk about the beautiful properties that they have, but for the specific intention of accessing deeper states of consciousness to manifest, or for deeper meditation, there's not a lot of that. So please know that it's very special that you're here. Now, this is the first of 3 free workshops that I'm going to be doing. I've divided into, this session will be about why essential oils for manifesting and deeper states of consciousness. The next one will be on what essential oils are particularly good for manifesting different things, and the third one will be the how. So that's the process. Now we're going to start with a meditation, because quite a few of us are poorly, so we're going to do a healing meditation straight away. So let's get into a comfortable position. Now if you're lying in your bed, that's absolutely fine. Hello, you're so welcome. Please come to a seated, comfortable position, whatever is comfortable for you. Ideally, your back upright, your 2 sitting bones under you, your chest open, your shoulders back, and we're going to come into a nice, comfortable seated meditation, and just bring your awareness to your breathing. So initially, you can breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth 3 times. Just feeling yourself letting go of the day if it's evening, or the night if it's morning. I know it's morning for some of you. Now we're going to do an essential oil meditation. So I hope you've brought an essential oil with you. And a grounding essential oil is what ideally you'll have. You'll have whatever you have to hand, and please be aware that the oils have a way of presenting themselves to you. So if you couldn't find anything but this is right. They just have a way of deciding for you what it's going to be. But ideally, I'm going to use ground. But really, any grounding oil is fine. Sandalwood, cedarwood, frankincense, myrrh, vetiver, but whatever you have is fine. Okay, so we're going to start with, so we're in a comfortable seated position. We're going to first of all start by picking out the essential oil that you're going to use. If you have a number in front of you, a number of oils, you haven't chosen one yet, try not to think about it. Try to just let your hand reach for whichever one feels right for you, and reach for that. Okay, and then we're going to set our intention for this meditation. So the intention is that we are here in union to open ourselves up to the wisdom of the oils, and to heal ourselves deeply at all 5 koshas, at all 5 levels of existence, to heal ourselves deeply. So that's the group intention we're going to have for this meditation. Now the next thing is to ask permission of the oil. So this may be new to you, but this is an element of this Ganda Shakti, as I call it, which I'll describe a bit more about later. But to ask permission of the oil and be open to a no. You might get a, so be open to that. But ask permission of the oil to use it. And then when you're ready, we'll apply it. Now, if it's pure essential oil, we're just going to smell it. If it's a blend, you can apply it. And you can apply it to wherever, again, you get a sense to do. But if it's pure essential oil, just smell it. So smell it deeply. And then you can put down the oil. Now we've put on a beautiful, hopefully grounding essential oil. So first of all, we're going to envision a circle of light all around us. So if you like, in your inhalation, envisioning an orb, a circular white bright light going up, and on the exhalation going down the other side for a perfectly beautiful spherical white bright orb all around you. First of all, up and down on either side with the inhalation and exhalation, and then on the next inhalation up the front body and down the back body in time with your own breath. And keep inhaling and exhaling, just visioning and feeling, if you can, this beautiful white orb of light around you. If you want to, if you have the oils somewhere, you can smell them if it's easy, but don't strain to do it. So this beautiful white orb of energy is to protect us, which might sound a bit, the oils are protective in themselves, but the oils also, they invite new energy. And with that, we want to protect ourselves. It sounds, it might sound unnecessary, but really energetic stuff does happen. So it's safer just to protect yourself. And then feel on the next exhalation the grounding of the breath. So on each exhalation, feel your breath flowing downward. And then envision the beautiful roots on the beautiful tree or plant that you just applied or smelt. If you want to go on smelling, you can. But you want to let the oil come to you rather than really go to it. And just remember, you don't need to go to it. It will come to you, and it's operating internally all the time. So on the exhalation, really grounding down. Try to visualize those roots. Try to see them, the beautiful roots grounding you to the earth. Try to feel them. Now we'll make a little vow, and we'll vow that whatever wisdom, whatever intelligence comes to us during this meditation, that we will use it for the higher good, the greatest good. And then we'll ask of the oil. So here we say, I am here in learning. What do you have to teach me? I am here in freedom. What can you help me to release? I am here in abundance. What gifts do you have for me? And just remain in that consciousness, listening, feeling, being aware. And then we thank the oil for its wisdom. And just hold on to that awareness. So maybe you saw something, maybe you didn't see something, maybe you felt something, maybe you didn't feel anything. In this format, it can be, a little bit difficult because, we're in Facebook and that might feel a little bit strange. But please know that we're together and that everybody's doing this at the same time, which is a beautiful consciousness. Because remember, what the vibration we're working with is the trees, and the trees have no concept of individual consciousnesses. They're just one. Each species is one consciousness, and we're tapping into that together, which is very beautiful. So that's a beautiful meditation that just opens you up to the learning, open you up to the wisdom and the messages. And the more you practice it, the more they'll come. And if you do this at other times, maybe in alignment with your own meditation, you will feel and hear, and you get such clarity of messaging. And that's the gift of the oils. So now I wanted to talk about, just in this session, why essential oils for manifesting. Why are they so good for manifesting? How does that kind of align? So manifesting is the process of flooding the subconscious mind with that which we want to manifest, that which we want to have or to get or to be or to manifest in our lives. That's what manifesting is. Now, there are two main obstacles to manifesting in my mind. The first one is the mind, the thinking mind, the rational mind. Because it's very rational, and the rational mind can find it hard to rationalize that which we want to manifest for a number of different things. But one of them is just, very logically, well, how's that going to happen? So that's not even the deep stuff, just the very rational. How's that ever going to happen? So that's the rational. But another also is that the rational mind has no concept of the holism of the universe, of the ever presence, of the the fact that we're all is one, and that lack doesn't exist. The rational mind has no concept of that. So really, and it's a hindrance to that. So what we really need to do is quiet the rational mind. But as we know, that's not very easy because the rational mind is very busy. So it's important for you to know that all of our senses, all of our five senses, pass through the rational mind and stimulate the rational mind, all bar one. Guess what it is? The sense of smell. The sense of smell is the only sense that bypasses the rational mind, which is really convenient for what we're trying to do. And you'll know this experientially, when you smell a smell, that brings you back. We call it brings you back, which is true, but it actually brings you back in that it's out of time. And so it actually, your brain actually thinks that you're there, where wherever you smelt that smell, you're back there again. So smell transports you. So smell is like a portal. So smell can bring you to this state of being, this state of awareness of the lack of lack, the non-existence of lack, and the ever-present state, basically, because the sense of smell, so the reason really is brain geography. So why does the sense of smell, why is it the only one to bypass the rational mind? brain geography, which is kind of cool. It's just the location, the physical location of the sense of smell, and also the physical location points to its importance in our evolution. So our sense of smell was the most important thing that got us this far. Until the rational mind kind of kicked in. It was like, you don't really matter anymore. But at one sense in our evolution, our brain was over 50% smell receptors. It was just vital for survival, for what's, who's a mate, what's good food, what's bad food, everything that we needed to survive. So smell took up over 50% of our brain, which I think is just mad. We must have been not very interesting to talk to, but why this matters is that as the other senses developed, as we evolved, and the sense of smell never lost its positioning, which is right back here in the limbic brain, which governs everything we feel. It actually governs posture, it governs heart rate, it governs breath rate, it governs emotions. So the sense of smell has never lost its prime positioning, which is why it just takes us straight there and why it's so powerful. Now, we're skeptical about the sense of smell because we're rational beings, and it's important to be aware of that. Our rationality makes us skeptical about the sense of smell. So be aware of that. It's okay. We're rational beings operating in this world, operating with a sense of time, even though we know it doesn't exist, and operating with a sense of that things are separate, even though as a yogi we tend to believe that there is no such thing as separation of anything. And we tend to be skeptical about the sense of smell. So just be aware that you'll be skeptical and just lean into it. Just do it anyway, just be aware and just do it anyway. So the two obstacles to manifesting: the thinking mind, sense of smell, backstage pass to the subconscious mind, which is what we have to work with, both in manifesting and in raising our vibration in general. The second obstacle to manifesting is deeply held self-limiting beliefs. Now, these are tricky. They're just so deeply held, and they're so out of reach to us because we operate, we're aware of so much, but we're not aware of these, and they're busy controlling our lives, and we don't even know that they're there. So that's a bit of a pain. But as we've just said, the sense of smell takes us straight back into the subconscious, and the subconscious is where these deeply held self-limiting beliefs are housed. So these self-limiting beliefs have very, very deep roots. But guess what? Vetiver has even deeper roots. So it doesn't happen all the time, and we'll talk a little bit about that, about why it doesn't always happen when you use essential oils, because you have to use deep practices. But if you use deep practices with something like vetiver, which is this beautiful tall Indian grass with the crazy deep roots, you can get down there. So that's the two ways, the two big obstacles to manifesting that smell gets you past. Now, also why smell and fragrance is so powerful for manifesting is, as well as the Vedic traditions, the Egyptians were very, very into using oils and fragrance for ritual, for connecting with the divine, and they viewed the sense of smell as the most important superpower. And it was because they believed that it raised their vibration. And that's what I invite you to feel, because it unquestionably does. I've been putting together essential oils with consciousness expansion for 10 years now, and if you come to essential oils with an intentionality, it just does do that. It raises your vibration, which is what you need to do for manifesting. And now we think that is possibly because the sense of smell stimulates the pineal gland. The pineal gland is this little mass of nerves, and it's considered the seat of the soul. So that's another reason why fragrance is the Egyptians, yes, the Egyptians, yeah, they really knew a thing or two about oils. So the pineal gland, and then so not only do the oils raise our vibration, but they are deeply communicative in nature. So trees they just exist to communicate. And so don't think that we're external to that. They will communicate to you. So I just want to give you a little story about how one way I really felt this. So some of you know who've been with me for years, I have a Kundalini spine. I have, quite a significant scoliosis. And you know, it doesn't get much more physical than that in terms of like manifesting, you know, and I'm manifesting a erect spine. And the trees are amazing because they embody verticality, and that's what I'm trying to manifest is this beautiful verticality. So I meditate and embody verticality using ground, but any trees really have this beautiful verticality in them. It's just in their nature, but it's also in their nature to be deeply communicative. And how this is really useful is if you meditate with them. Now, you don't necessarily want to imbue your what you wish to manifest into the oils, but you also need to allow. So it's quite a gentle process, like manifesting itself. There's a lot of allowance. It's not like you're not putting your ego into the oils, you know. It's not what it's about. It's really a process of allowing. But you meditate with the oils. And so in this, I meditate with the oils and manifesting verticality. And I was out and about in the car, and I was dropping the kids up to school, and I couldn't have been in a less mindful state. You know, driving the car, driving halfway up, didn't have enough food for the kids, so I have to stop off into the shops to get food, kind of late for school, you know, average nightmare stuff. And I was, you know, shouting at the window something about like, don't buy any crap, or don't spend more than X, or whatever. But I always have my oils just there in the car. And so I was in this frazzled state, but on it, in that frazzled state, put on, smelt, and was still, you know, mid talking, and my all the muscles just converged to straighten my spine. And I mean, I couldn't have been in a less mindful state at that point. But just the oils were like, you're busy, we can see that, living your silly little life, doing your silly little things. We got this for you. You know, they just carry you. The oils just carry you towards what you wish to manifest in ways that are obvious and ways that we'll never know, which is beautiful as well. But they just carry you. So that's just a little story of how even the most physical manifestation that you want to manifest, the oils just carry you there because of their essence, but also their communicative and how they communicate with you on every level, you know, even to your muscles, to tell you, come on now, let's be more upright. So they will communicate with you on a deep level, and it's humbling and beautiful. But you know, at the same time, it's our birthright. We are elements of nature. So that is now. I just want to make sure I got through everything here. Meditation. Yes, I wanted to. So why essential oils? That is really it. You know, that the two big obstacles that sense of smell will overcome, that they raise our vibration, that they're deeply communicative in nature, and you'll feel this. Then I also just wanted to tell you a little bit about, so Ganda Shakti. So what is Ganda Shakti? So Ganda, you know, my oils I've called yogandha. So where I got that from is Ganda is Sanskrit for fragrance. It's also Sanskrit for sandalwood. And it's Sanskrit for mindful fragrance, for using fragrance for mindfulness, which is what this is all about. So Ganda Shakti is just using fragrance, the power of fragrance for consciousness expansion. That's what Ganda Shakti is now. It's my own creation. I mean, Ganda isn't, Shakti obviously isn't, but I just put them together for this, you know, because not a lot of people are talking about this, and I want to distinguish it between the regular use of essential oils, which the regular use of essential oils is amazing, powerful, but they are a little bit different. So a few of the differences are, so with the regular use of essential oils, that's mainly working on the physical plane. It usually a practitioner will choose an oil dependent on its fragrance and its properties. Whereas in Ganda Shakti, we work mainly on the vibrational plane, and we choose an oil for its sacred properties, but really its vibration. And that's often chosen on a very vibrational level. So it's about attuning our vibration with the vibration of the oil to choose. So it's very non-rational. What else? Yeah, I mean, they are the main differences. There are a few more, but I don't need to go into them. But also to say that all distinction is illusion. But I just wanted to point out the difference in focus of the two practices, of just regular essential oils for everyday use, which is a beautiful practice, but it's deeper and for a different purpose. Okay. So that is Ganda Shakti. Now, I think really that was most of what I wanted to say. I mostly wanted to say about the why today, and we'll get into the what the next day. So now I would quite like to open it up to questions. I have got in quite a few questions already, but what I thought I would do is contain the questions for this session, more around the why, if you have any. Because I just like to kind of just separate three distinct workshops. This is the why, which is quite complex. I understand that, but if as long as you feel it, then that's fine. Then the next one we do will be the what, and then the how. So the why. If any questions you have around the why. Yeah, most of the questions that I did get in were about the how and the what oils. So we'll discuss those next week. About marma points, and yeah, so these are all beautiful questions that we'll get on to more in the what and the how. For the why, do I have yeah, so I think that is mostly it that I had for the why. So shoot if you have any questions for me on why essential oils for manifestation, for consciousness expansion. It is, I understand, kind of quite a it is quite deep, because it is basically brain geography. But just for you to know that there's a huge extensive history on this, which we might, I don't know what category that would fall into, but we might hopefully get to touch on that a little bit. But every major meditative tradition that has ever been recorded has had an element of fragrance to it, because of this, the properties of fragrance to different traditions would put it differently to, and you will put it, in your own way. Is it to connect with our own intuition? Is it to connect us with the earth, by making us feel that the interconnectivity of all things? Is it straight up to connect us with the divine? Most of the traditions have been just straight up with that. In the Vedic tradition, it's been very it's been very clear that it's associated with the divine, so much so that if often you'll read in the Vedic texts, before a god appeared, there's a fragrance in the air. And even in Christianity, they've been using Christianity. They're mentioned throughout the Bible. And one of the questions I've got is about that, which is beautiful. I love, I love just looking into all the different sacred texts and the constant references to oils throughout them for various purposes, but always intrinsically they're for spiritual purposes. So in Christianity, it's considered that you'll often get a smell when the Holy Spirit is around. And actually, there's a beautiful tradition of this, which I've only quite recently discovered, which is a tradition of myrrhophores, which I've just discovered exist. Which is, a myrrhophore is a woman who is also called a carrier of myrrh, or the carrier of the oils. And this is a sacred tradition that has been going on since Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene was one of the first recorded myrrhophores that we know, that we know of, and we know that she rubbed Jesus's feet before crucifixion with spikenard, which is the most incredible herb, most incredible oil. So there's just a beautiful lineage in every meditative tradition that there is. I don't think there's one without. So that's, that's why essential oils for manifestation, for consciousness expansion, for connecting with the divine. At the very basic level, it's kind of brain geography, but also it's deeper than that. It's just these beautiful elements of nature connect with our beautiful elements of nature, and it really helps us to embody the connectivity of all things and our own connection with the divine. So that is it. That is why essential oils for manifesting. It's really all about stepping into this beautiful pathway of communication that we know. If you've ever read any of those beautiful books about trees, you'll read extensively about the communication between trees and between other elements of nature. And this is really about reclaiming our own place in that, because they will communicate with us every bit as much as they'll communicate with each other, every bit. And it's just really about stepping into that and being part of that, because the messages are beautiful, clear. I've been doing this for 10 years, but I'm still constantly surprised at the clarity of the messaging. It's just incredible. And it's, as I say, it doesn't happen all the time in essential oil use, but if you come to it with this deeper level of intentionality that Ganda Shakti has, and that we'll do together, the clarity of the message is incredible, which is what is exactly needed for manifestation. So we are here to step into that tradition, to own that beautiful wisdom, to raise our vibration, and to have fun while doing it. So thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions, shoot, but I don't think there's any questions there that I can see. Oh, sorry, Brenda, I see you lost your connection. I hope you're all connected with me. Speak more to the messaging. Sure. Yeah, so what is the messaging like? It's pretty wacky stuff. Some people see things, some people hear things. I haven't ever heard anything. Quite jealous of people who can hear things. They hear sounds because the fragrances, when we speak about fragrance, they're in notes, right? Top notes, middle notes, bottom notes, and it's because of their vibration, which is of course tonal also. I haven't ever heard anything, maybe one day, but I do see things sometimes, and just you just get messages like what is the right thing to do. I often compare it to, I don't know if you've ever been pregnant. When you get pregnant, sometimes you just get these beautiful intuitions. You just get this feeling of like, I have no idea where my car key is, but I kind of know everything. Your rational mind just closes down and you can't remember anything, but you just have this intuition about, thing, you feel, what's right, what's needed, what your body needs. And it's such a beautiful wisdom. And it's a wisdom that we're aware of in pregnancy, but we're often not aware of it other times, but it's with us all the time. And when you're pregnant, what else happens? Your sense of smell goes through the roof completely, and it's because they're aligned. It's the same part of the brain. Your sense of smell is through the roof because this part of the brain is opening up. Rational mind is closing down, not really functioning very well often. But your pre-rational mind, your wisdom mind, your quiet sense of intuition and knowing what is fundamentally right, which is, yes, I am going to get on to a matriarchal overthrow that we need to do, because it's the wisdom of women, basically. I'm not saying men can't have it, but it's a female wisdom that's a quieter, non-rational knowing feeling of what is right, what is needed, both for us but also for our planet. Just an awareness of the connection of all things. And so that's the intuition. That's like the messaging. For me, it's most similar to when we're pregnant, just that beautiful intuition that you get. But yeah, the messaging, you just get these clear thoughts and our feelings about what's needed, and then also you can just use it for real clarity. So I often call, when I give talks on using essential oils for manifesting, I often call it clary-sage clarity, because clary-sage has always been used for that, for getting clarity, for visioning. So you just get a certain clarity about what's needed, what's the right course of action. So Mary, you've learned a bit about some scars. Yes. What would you recommend for this with the oils? Yes. So that's a what. That's a beautiful what. So let's come back to that next week, because also I should close up now, but that is a perfect what. So let's start with that next week. What would be the oils for that? And we'll have to do a meditation on that, because a lot of the wisdom is learnt, but a lot of the wisdom is sort of revealed. We sound ooh, but with the Western approach, and this is another kind of difference between regular use of essential oils and Ganda Shakti, is with regular use of essential oils, you study. You do feel a bit, but with Ganda Shakti, it's feeling first, and you do study, obviously, about the properties of the oils, but it's more about listening to the oils and let the oils are the teachers. The oils will teach us what is right, so it's more about developing practices that will reveal what is what is the oil that will do that for you. The oils will tell you. They'll just tell you straight out. So it's about developing the practices that will connect you with that wisdom. So that's fine. Let's do that next. So the next session, so I think my plan is to have the next session on Friday. So please let me know if you're around, because I'd love to. And then let's get into the what essential oils for manifesting particular things, what essential oils for working with the samskaras, what essential oils for various things. Please do shoot your questions into me. If you put them in, so we've got a beautiful Facebook group called Aromatherapy for Yoga, and if you can please shoot your questions in there, and then we can get a little bit of a discussion going, because for me it's really important to discuss this, because although it's a non-verbal, it's because it's a non-verbal. We're talking about a sense that is pre-rational, pre-linguistic. It's very old wisdom, and so it's lovely to talk about it with other people, because it's quite hard to put into words. So if we discuss it, it's more like you kind of paint a picture or color it or give it texture. So please do jump into Aromatherapy for Yoga and ask any questions, give any comments. If you do a meditation, ideally I would love if you could do a meditation. I might send that meditation to you that we did, because I think it is more powerful when you do it. I love doing it together, but in this setting, I'm not sure if it's perfect for you. And for me, it's beautiful to do it first thing in the morning when it's still very still. But I'd love you to practice that with an oil, any grounding oil, ground if you have it, but really cedarwood, sandalwood, any grounding oil. And you might get some messages, and I'd love to hear about that if that feels appropriate. Will there be a recording to the session? Yes, there will. Yes, there will. Yeah, there definitely will. So I will put it, if you're registered, it will be sent out to you, but also I think I'm going to put it in the Facebook group, the Aromatherapy for Yoga Facebook group, so that we can, can stimulate a little bit of discussion, or just let your meditation be the source of discussion. That would be the best. Thank you so much for being here. If there's any more questions, please ask. And then let's get to some scars. And so Friday I'm planning to come together again for this. So I hope that you can be present for that, because it is lovely to do it together. And thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I shall see you Friday. Namaste.